Hello and welcome everybody to a new episode of the Digital Embellishment Show. I'm very excited to have a very special guest with us today. We have the director, the global director, I'm sorry, not just the director, the global director of Digital Embellishment Solutions for Kurz, Mr. Michael Aumann, my good friend. How are you today, Michael?
I'm doing great, Kevin. How are you?
Wow, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Global director. That's quite a big jump from well, congratulations first of all on the promotion. What are you doing now for Kurz? Can you give us an understanding of what you're doing?
Sure. I'm taking care of the business development, kind of product development side for our digital embellishment solutions. And Kurz is a global company. We've got subsidiaries all over the world. So making sure that we connect with all of them and find out how we can help their customers get into the digital side of embellishment. That's what my role is and what my team's role is, and we're pretty excited about it.
Now, Michael, Kurz is kind of a major player on the consumable side of the business. I think that anybody who's done traditional foil stamping, and I think it's worth to note also that you are also at Kluge for quite a bit, and you are the president of Kluge, so you have a full understanding of, I think, the traditional side of embellishment. But Kurz has also played not just traditionally, but they've made some big investments in the world of, I think, digital. You know, with there's an acquisition that they did with Steinemann, a lot of an R&D. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that and how all that plays together? Because I mean, your history is phenomenal. You have so much experience that I bet a lot of people would love to hear that story.
Sure. So, as it relates to Kerr's journey on the digital side of things, when we think about Kerr's printing and packaging business, um, traditionally, Kurz has not been involved in the equipment side. Okay. We focus strictly on the consumable, on the transfer foil, whether it be hot stamping or cold transfer. So that could be in flexo for labels, it can be offset for sheetfed, cold transfer. In those conventional areas, though, there was always a tremendous amount of uh, equipment OEMs out there already. Okay. In the other two sides of Kerr's business, in our security business and our plastics business, Kerr's has been manufacturing equipment for those businesses for decades. So it's not like Kerr's has not been involved in the equipment side. Back in drupa 2016, there was a definite big decision by Walter Kurz, our owner, that we really wanted to get into the digital side of things and to do it seriously. So we introduced two technologies at drupa 2016. And then since that time, we've, as you said, made some acquisitions. Company in Switzerland called Steinemann, a company in Germany called Mprint, that focuses on inkjet technology. And what we've done is since drupa 2016 is we've built out a platform that includes every one of the primary technologies in the market today: transfer on toner embellishment, inkjet on transfer, which is where we're printing on the back of transfer foil, and then inkjet on substrate, which is the 3D tactile piece that so many people look at today.
So I think
So,
and I'm glad you're clarifying this, Michael. I'm just going to jump in here. There is, in my opinion, a little bit of confusion as to what Kurtz does from a technology standpoint, because you actually you've decided to go to all three routes. You have the toner transfer. Some people know it as sleeking. Other people, that's actually a Nobelist term. I found out recently that they
yes,
invented that
yes.
word, which I thought was interesting. So you have that and that machine is called what? That does the
So
toner transfer?
At Kurz, we have a machine called the SmartLiner, and we have a little bit different process
Right.
than sleeking. But whether it's sleeking or it's our digital metal process, it really doesn't matter. Both of them are transfer on toner technologies. We
Okay.
just go about it different ways.
And so that machine is called the
SmartLiner.
SmartLiner. So SmartLiner is for the toner transfer. And then you
Correct.
have one that is similar to, I would say, the MGI, Scodix, Duplo, where you're putting varnish down on the sheet using inkjet, and then either doing 2D or embellished tactile or foil. And that machine is called what?
That is called the MaxLiner.
The MaxLiner. Okay, so you have SmartLiner for toner. Now you have the SmartLiner. I'm sorry. Say it one more time.
MaxLiner.
MaxLiner for the what we consider traditional inkjet embellishment. And then you went out and created a new process, which when you explained it to me, I think at Amplify a year ago, I was like, wait, you have to explain that to me again. You're actually printing inkjet onto the back of the foil transfer film and then transferring that to the sheet. So it's kind of like, I've never heard of that process before. You guys are the only ones doing it that out there. Is that right? Can you?
Yeah, that's correct. So,
Okay.
when you look at what we call the 2D inkjet technology, which is where we're printing on the back of the transfer foil, and you look at transfer on toner, both of those are 2D technologies. So flat.
Flat.
So if you come from the hot stamping world, we're talking about flat stamping. When we look at the 3D and inkjet, that's where we're printing directly to the substrate. So the technology you're asking about, the 2D inkjet, there we print on the back of the transfer foil.
Yeah.
We use a low power LED and we pin that image on the back of the foil immediately so it stabilizes that image.
Yep.
We're able to achieve just incredible detail and line art in all different elements, all the way to big solids.
Oh, you
We
don't have to
pin
sell
that.
me on that. I mean, that's amazing. You guys, that's the honestly, that's like the biggest, I think, weakest point when it comes to that inkjet on paper is that you can't really go too flat compared to what people are used to. So yeah, keep going. I'm sorry, I totally interrupted you,
Yeah,
but yeah, I love
no,
what
it's
you guys are
okay.
doing.
And the big advantage then of here's what's interesting. You mentioned my background
Yeah,
at Kluge and on conventional hot stamping. I always like to explain it this way. If we were at a trade show and we had a customer come up and say, "Hey, look, we have this application. It's a huge opportunity for us. Can you do this?" The technical team at Kluge would look at it and they would say 95% of the time, "Yeah, we can do it." Now, it might mean 30 days in the lab to figure out all the right pressures and speeds and temperatures, but it could be done, all with one piece of equipment. Very, very different on the digital side,
no
right?
kidding.
So transfer on toner is not a solution for everything. The 2D inkjet is not a solution for everything. And quite frankly, the 3D inkjet is not a solution for everything. It's really critical in this process to figure out what you want, what your customers need, and match the right technology with the right applications.
Wow,
So
I love
the
it.
big push for 2D inkjet is that it opens up that substrate window, right? So with 3D, by and large, you're limited to coated stocks. If it's not a coated stock, the substrate kind of starts to act like a sponge and just soaks up that UV varnish. On the 2D inkjet application, we can go anywhere from a unsupported film,
Yep.
like you would have on a shrink sleeve, all the way through a fully open structured uncoated stock like you might see on a whiskey label or a wine label or a greeting card, and then anywhere in between. So that 2D inkjet technology, the big advantage of that is if you have a need to go to open structured substrates or if you have a wide range of substrates, it's a great solution.
So
But
I
because I
love
won UV varnish, you're out of luck.
Michael. Okay, so we know the first two names. What is the third name? The 2D inkjet, where you're jetting on top of the foil that is transferring. What is the name of that machine right there?
Yep. For sheetfed, it's the MaxLiner 2D.
Okay.
And for rollfed, it's called the Uniliner.
Okay. Very cool.
So
So
our our platform today, just this year in 2023, is worked its way out where each one of the technologies we have a sheet fed solution, and each one of the technologies we have a roll fed solution. So both sheet fed and roll fed product platforms that integrate all three technologies.
So you have these three technologies. Is there is there a fourth one you want to talk about on the show while we're getting ready for Drupa, or is there any top secret stuff that you want to wink wink?
Yeah, exciting for us is we will have the introduction of the 2D inkjet sheet fed solution. We'll have the introduction of that machine.
That's awesome.
At Drupa. Got some prototype things in the field today at customer sites that we're really pleased with the way that's going. Yeah. But, really the global launch for the sheet fed side of 2D inkjet will be at Drupa.
I love it. I wonder if you can't smash those two machines together and do 2D and 3D together in one single pass. Who knows? Who knows where the future of the R&D department at Kurz is going? Tell me something. If I wanted to buy one of these machines, do I go to you? Do I give you a call, Michael, or do you have a distributor network? What's the best way to get more information about, buying this? I don't know what your go-to-market strategy is.
Sure. So, by and large, Kurz has subsidiary companies throughout the world. And, depending on the area where you're at, you would deal with your local subsidiary. Some countries around the world, we have agency relationships.
Okay.
Where we've got longtime agency partners. But if you use Kurz transfer foil products today, wherever you purchase those transfer foil products today are where you would go to purchase the equipment as well. Now, we've got a global team of equipment experts that are just dialed into the digital technology, and we're there to support all of our subsidiary partners around the world.
That's great.
And our biggest customers.
And
then we've got a couple OEM partners as well that have taken this technology and integrated it into their machines.
That's great. That's great. I think that's a smart move as well. Just it seems that everybody everywhere is now starting to talk about digital embellishment. And I was wondering if you can give us a little, just your gut feeling, like, man, you've been around embellishment for a while. I know you've been with, Kluge for a long time. You were then over at obviously at Kurz. You're seeing the transfer of, first of all, are you seeing more and more people adopt embellishments, period? Is it something that you're seeing go up? And talk to me about what you're seeing with the world of digital embellishment, specifically from your standpoint, because you have a great standpoint.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing is digital embellishment certainly is growing. We see that in volume as it relates to how the transfer foil volume is starting to grow with digital. We have this group of equipment that I've described, but quite frankly, it's kind of in Kurz blood. For years, we've made transfer foil to go on all kinds of different equipment. So as we take a look at all the different equipment manufacturers out there, we design and develop chemistry specifically for all the different types that are out there. So I think we have a pretty good feel for what's happening. And certainly digital is growing. There's absolutely no question the volume is growing on digital. I think one of the misnomers that's out there, though, is that there are equal parts, that if digital grows, that somehow means conventional is going down. Mm. And I don't see that as being the case at all.
Well, in many cases, I know that you've probably seen this too, is that many times a client might start on a shorter run doing one particular type of product using digital, like the feedback so much that actually when the next job comes in, it's a much longer run that then feeds the analog. So in many cases, we're seeing digital help kind of seed the market for the longer runs on the analog. Are you kind of seeing that too?
We certainly see some of that. Probably right now, probably uh, the bigger piece that we're starting to see is you have all these companies that have done such an incredible job of being early adopters of 3D technology. And I like to say these are the folks who've got the bumps, the bruises, the cuts, the scrapes, the abrasions. They've made it through that early adoption piece.
Mm.
And they've really started to build nice revenue streams around digital embellishment. And I think what we're starting to see next is customers like that look. For those people who have who have bought into it, they want that look. So when we get to a longer run now, moving over to a conventional is not an option. That's not what they want. They want the same look in digital. And I think the next big challenge for the industry is how do you make that more industrial? How do you get to higher productivity and higher efficiency rates so that you can support bigger runs and that type of thing?
Yeah.
I I think it occurs if you take a look at our technology and what we've done. I think that's been more of our target. How do you get to more of an industrial type productivity level and efficiency level? And as a result, we're probably not the best fit in the world for the early adopter who just wants to kind of start by crawling and walking and,
Sure.
you know, don't have volume and, just want to see how that builds out. I think we're probably a little bit prepared at Kurz to when someone says, look, we've got to be productive with this. We've got volume. We've got customers who want to go. I think our equipment solutions are a little bit more designed to say, well, let's talk about getting you into a little bit more accepted industrial rates and that kind of thing.
That's good. I like that approach, and I don't know if you're seeing this with the clients that you're talking to, but back when I was selling equipment, it got to a point, and it was early at the point. So it was like 2020, 2021 when I was last selling equipment itself. And yeah, I miss those days. I was having a lot of fun selling machines, but I will tell you that I started to see a shift in people. And I could tell you from like 2008 to 2000, maybe 15 or 16, it was just like, all right, I'm going to buy this machine. I'm going to start this market from scratch. I'm going to have to go out there and build this market. I'm going to have to educate everybody. And like you said, we stand on the shoulders of a lot of titans who kind of, made that beaten path and kind of cleared the path for everybody else who's getting into the game now. But what I started seeing was a shift of, number one, people getting second and third machines, not just the one. So, like you're saying, now all of a sudden there's a good accepted revenue stream. But what was interesting too is those who didn't have equipment had been outsourcing to people who did have equipment for 3 years or so and starting to build a market for it. And they knew how much they could sell it for. They knew who their customers were. They knew how to sell it, except now instead of sending it out to a trade finisher or a partner or trade printer, they would bring it in house. Is that something that you're starting to see now, where people have gained the experience by using trade partners?
I think so. Um, I'm not going to say that that is a massive movement right now where people were outsourcing it and now they're bringing it in. I think the biggest driver is designers are starting to have confidence in digital.
Interesting.
I think they're starting to uh, understand a little bit more what some of the limitations are. And once they understand the limitations, they're a little more focused on how they design to it and that kind of thing.
So let's talk
Um,
design, Michael, because you guys came up with a really cool software. I don't know if you're allowed to talk about it yet, but you had
sure.
you had previewed it to me, and it was really something that you built. Was it for designers or for specifiers? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's called Dream Composer. And
Nice.
what it allows you to do is take as close as you could ever think of a live look at what a 3D embellishment would look like on something like a folding cart, and really get live. What does that look like? You know, under certain light conditions that you can control, from different angles, from all different types and effects, where you can kind of see them, what it's going to look like live, right? And that helps designers, not just for digital, for any type of embellishment, have a little bit more confidence as to what's going on.
Wow.
Um,
I think it's great, right? It's because up till now it's like, hey, you have to imagine foil here, and really is there's no can't replace that. Once you get in your hand, that's the only real, I think, substitute. But being able to play with it virtually in the light and refracting the light, understanding how the light is going to play out on the sheet, or the final application, I think is great. And I think what you guys are doing is really down the right track. Tell me real fast, have you guys been able to simulate holographic foil, or is it just like going to be the base metallics?
no, there's the ability to do some of that with holography as well.
Wow.
So
Okay. I know that's a big challenge. I know a lot of other people are trying to do that. And they're running into issues on that, but that's really cool.
yeah, it's cool technology. And what it does is it gives people more confidence to use an embellishment on their product.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that confidence drives a lot of different things. And on the digital side, I think that confidence now is starting to grow. Again, all these early adopters that have now 3, 4, 5 years into it, and there's projects out there, and people see the look of what digital can do differently.
Sure.
Um, they like it and they want to move forward with it. I think the challenge for all of us now is how do we make that so it's scalable, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, at the front end of this, I think a lot of people would like to say, hey, look, now with digital, there is no limit. You can go down to order of one. Um, well, the world is not built on orders of one. It's built on much larger volumes. So now that brands have started to leverage digital into their designs, now they're coming back and they're saying, rather than this being for a version that we're going to do out on the West Coast to 2,000 of our customers, we want to do this across the board. So we want to go to scale. It's got to be 150,000 or 300,000. Well, that's a big change for digital workflows. And I think right now we're starting to see a lot more of that, and it's only going to grow.
Yep. Yep. We're seeing it. I had an interview, I think, with Andy Humble from Post Press Specialties in Kansas City, and he was telling us that the size of the runs that are now being requested to be done digitally, he just got a job. I think it was 1 million boxes, and they only wanted to be run digitally. It's like 1 million. It's like that will lock down your machine for like the better part of a couple of months, depending on the thickness or the type of embellishment that you're using. But yeah, I think what you're saying is a great point. That now suddenly it's no longer the runs under 5,000. Now we're getting into really serious runs, and apparently digital foil has a different look and feel. And you would probably be the best person to talk about this, somebody who's really well versed in both, on the shelf. So I think a lot of people will say digital foil has more of a glossiness to it, and some brands are really just attracted to how that reflects on the shelf. So especially in the gaming, the card games, I mean, there's a big push by some of these major players in the gaming side and the trading card games, to go digital.
Yeah, I think it just spreads into so many different places, right? So when we talk about 3D, what do you call it, Kevin? I know what you call it.
Yeah, I call it 3D. Yeah, I call it, well,
No,
tactile, or raised,
you give
or
it a certain type of
oh, sexy
print.
print. Yeah, the
There
sexy
you
print.
go.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
you talk about 3D as that
Yeah,
sexy print.
yeah,
And that's that combination of a metallization and a UV spot varnish,
Yeah.
where, you know, you have all of these different things going on the page. And that's certainly getting some really, really good depth in packaging. It's getting some really good depth in the collectible trading card market, where you're seeing that now as the preferred technology. And I think one of the big misnomers that started when digital came out and still is around a lot today is that somehow digital is a replacement technology for the conventional technologies.
Mm.
And I'll be honest, I'm just not seeing it. And I'm the digital guy, right?
Right.
That's what I'm here to push. Uh, that's my job at Kurz is I need to push our digital embellishment solutions. But quite frankly, I'm not one of those believers who says digital is here as a replacement for conventional. And I think as we're seeing these volumes grow, it's proven out. People are saying, no, I like this look from digital that I cannot get from conventional. And quite frankly, people who are really bought into the conventional look, some digital solutions just don't
Don't like,
work for them,
for sure.
right?
I've
They
run into
just
that
don't,
too. Yeah.
right? So it's not like they're substituting or fighting against each other.
Additive.
It's additive, and it's about helping your customer and your brand find out what fits their business. It's so critical. You know, our 2D inkjet technology, if there was a way to call a substitute technology out, that might be one where you could say it could substitute in the label market for what traditional cold transfer in Flexo would be.
Yep.
But if it's just doing one for the other, I don't know that there's that big of a win there. You know, I understand you're saving a Flexo plate, but really, how much does a Flexo plate cost? It's not that much make ready. The difference is if you're doing a label and you can bring serialization to the label, one of 500, two of 500, all of a sudden that label and that product gets so much more valuable. That's where the important piece starts to come in. If you can print a run and you can do multiple versions, that's when it starts to be impactful. And where the make ready piece gets super impactful is if you get to a point where you can look at businesses that are web to print. When you think about it, if let's say a company's dialed in a conventional process and they can get their make readies done in 7 to 10 minutes, they're just really good at it. Okay. Well, if you can have instant order change with digital workflow, if you have a digital machine that just has instant order change, like our 2D inkjet systems, one job ends, the next job just starts. There is no stop. There is no tooling. Well, if that saves you only 7 to 8 minutes, but in a day you're going to process 70 jobs, well, 70 times 7 or 8 minutes,
That goes, yeah, it
sudden
adds up.
it
Adds up.
starts to become game changing in regards to productivity and everything else.
Yeah, no
And
question. No question.
those are I think we're just scratching the surface right now of people figuring that out. And because of those things,
Yeah.
I think the run lengths will continue to grow some in digital that maybe people originally didn't think they would be.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, listen, before I let you go, I need a prognostic for the college football playoff. I know you yourself happen to be a Michigan man. Do we have any odds? What are your prognostics for the college football playoff this year?
Yeah, I am not the right guy to ask if you want if you want a true and unfettered opinion, because I only think the Wolverines are going all the way.
There you go.
Uh,
That's what I was
and
expecting. I wouldn't expect anything less from such a diehard Michigan man.
and I think our squad was deeply committed to figuring out a way they had to beat Georgia, and then we get there this year and Georgia's not there, so we got to figure out a way to beat the other ones instead. I think all four of them are. I think it's as good of a group of four as we've had there.
Yeah.
Not saying last year's was bad or the year before, but
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like, Georgia has kind of sat there as the one to beat, and
Yeah.
now I think all four of them are sitting there going, any of us can win it. So
That's right.
I just know who I want to win it.
I know who you want to win too. Michael Aumann, it's been a wonderful conversation with you. Always eye-opening. I really, really recommend following Michael on LinkedIn, connecting with them if you just want to know more about the industry, if you want to more about what the great guys and girls at Kurz are doing and developing all this great technology. Really a wonderful person, a good friend, and thank you again, Michael, for being with us and sharing your thoughts. Good luck at drupa and
Thank
keep
you.
on pushing digital embellishment. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you pushing the market the way you are.
One shameless pitch, Kevin.
Sure, go.
If you're already in digital embellishment, if you want to get into digital embellishment, check out the Foil and Specialty Effects Association and their Digital Embellishment Alliance. What a great way to learn, get in community with other people who are in digital. Um, it's just a great way to kind of push your journey forward. So
Yeah,
Foil and Specialty Effects Association is an association here in the US. In the last year, they've added this focus to digital embellishment specifically. If you're looking to learn more, you can go to look up the Foil and Specialty
yeah.
Effects Association. And
Just go to fsca.com. Thank you, Michael, for bringing that up. A wonderful association doing everything to teach users and the market about the benefits of not just embellishments, but also specifically the only, I think, community in the world that is specifically addressing the digital embellishment market. So, great point. Thank you for bringing that up.
thanks a lot, Kevin, and all the best to you and your family as the holiday season comes upon us here.
Same to you, Michael. Thank you again.
All right.